Shadow the Hedgehog is one of the most loved characters in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. I mean, for Christ's sake, people love him more than Sonic, who is the main character. He was introduced in one of the best Sonic games of all time, Sonic Adventure 2. He's cool and bad to the bone. And Shadow's dark aesthetic, along with his harsh personality, must resonate with a lot of people because Shadow the Hedgehog, when it came out, sold 2 million copies. I've heard a lot of people say Sonic Frontiers is the best Sonic game, but that sold 3 million copies. Shadow was 1 million behind that. Obviously, Frontiers is the better game because if I was going off purely sales to determine which Sonic game is the best, Sonic Dash would just obliterate the competition because, believe it or not, somehow it is the best selling Sonic game of all time. Now, Shadow's selling 2 million copies in his first standalone game, that's just amazing. To put it in perspective, it sold more than Sonic Mania, Lost World, CD, Black Knight, Secret Ring, Sonic Rush, and all the advanced games. But the point I'm trying to make today is that ever since 2005, Shadow the Hedgehog has been left out and underutilized year after year after year, becoming more and more of Sonic's shadow.
Oh my gosh, Doctor, it's beautiful.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Subscriber.
I got some bad news though.
Yeah?
He didn't like the video.
Excuse me?
He didn't like the video. That thing in your arms. Yes.
You didn't like the video?
Goo goo gaga. Goo goo
Why are you
gaga.
not speaking real words? Did you
Goo
like
goo
the
gaga.
video?
Man, what are you doing to the baby?
Like the video!
Don't stop. Yes. Baby didn't like the video. It didn't like it.
What a good baby. He liked it. He said he was meant to do great things.
Now, before I talk about my problems with Shadow, I want to go over the recent controversy that stirred up in the Sonic community about Shadow's character. And this is because recently a new updated character profile for Shadow and other characters was released on the Fast Friends Forever website, and his profile reads, Shadow is known as the ultimate life form. He was created by Professor Gerald Robotnik, Dr. Eggman's grandfather, as part of a complex conspiracy involving the military and some ravenous aliens. Shadow has incredible speed, ferocious strength, and a rare ability called Chaos Control. By utilizing the power of the Chaos Emerald, he can stop time and appear to warp in a new position instantaneously. Shadow is always on the prowl for dangers to the world. While he has no love for it or its people, they were cherished by his one friend, the late Maria Robotnik, Dr. Eggman's cousin. He protects the Earth in honor of her memory, willing to do anything and fight anyone to ensure no one threatens the world Maria cherished. While Shadow prefers to be alone, he allows himself to trust the occasional support of Rouge and Omega. They are the only ones who he can count on to help and won't question his methods. Now, what I just read to you, a lot of fans are worried about this because they think Sega is digressing Shadow's character by putting on his character profile that everything he does is just in honor of Maria and he doesn't in reality care about the people on it or the Earth, especially after the events that took place during Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. What were the meaning of these cutscenes then? We had Amy Rose tell Shadow that not all humans are bad. Just because one did you wrong doesn't mean there's not good, innocent people out there that just want to live their life. Shadow wasn't going to help them at all, but after hearing Amy out, he shed a tear because he realized she was right. There's literally the scene where he says goodbye to Maria, goodbye to Shadow, goodbye to his past, because he finally knows his true purpose. It was already made clear that Shadow has moved on from his past, which is why recently Ian Flynn, the man responsible for writing the IDW comics right now and the story of Sonic Frontiers along with the past Sonic games, he was asked directly on his podcast about this in Shadow the Hedgehog's bio.
What is up with Shadow's bio on the Fast Friends Forever website? According to the bio, Shadow is fighting to protect the planet, but only for the sake of Maria's memory, while having no personal investment of the planet itself. I don't know how important these are to the series or characterization, but wouldn't making this aspect of his character the main reason for his protection of the planet be a regression and a contradiction to his development during Shadow the Hedgehog's final story? I know he still thinks about Maria due to the Sonic Channel stories, but we also know he decided to stand up for humanity himself while Black Doom was manipulating and pelting him with only bad memories. Assuming these bios aren't just oversimplified for marketing reasons, how come he's going back to doing everything for Maria's wish if he already did all that without those memories, learned to move on from his past and her promise, and was written in '06 to show himself as a hero on his own terms?
That is a very good question. It is very valid, and I cannot talk about it right now.
Well, I guess this is the situation we're in.
That is not a hand wave. This is very legitimately, there is other stuff that plays into this that I cannot get into just yet. So hold your horses.
Damn it.
So yes, he was asked about Shadow's bio and how it's kind of contradicting Shadow's development. And Ian's response was, yes, he's back to coping, and there's a reason why, and we'll find out in the future. If you were to ask me, I think Ian's hinting towards a new character development for Shadow. Again, Shadow has no friends, and yes, he does occasionally team up with Sonic and others, but he doesn't consider them his friends and doesn't want to hang out with those happy, fun losers. He just wants to go beat people up, which is, I guess, one reason why he's not in a lot of Sonic games. So I think they're probably going to try to have him warm up to a small group of people. Let's not forget, Blaze was just like Shadow. She didn't want friends, didn't need help on everything. She just always wanted to do everything by herself. But then once she met Sonic, she changed, and now I feel like they're going to be doing the same thing or something similar with Shadow. Now, is Shadow the Hedgehog wasted potential? If you asked me, I would say yes and no. The reason why I say this is because obviously he saved the world a couple times from complete destruction. He saved the world with Sonic and Silver, by himself against Doom, so his potential and capability is well known. But what's sad is that he hasn't been consistent for years. For example, let's look at Sonic and Shadow's fights against each other. Now, of course, it's said on multiple occasions that Sonic and Shadow are rivals amongst each other and somewhat equal, but there's a lot of problems with this. If in Sonic Adventure 2 they were equals in their final fight, or it ended up in a tie, Shadow didn't take off his inhibitor rings, which we know gives him a power boost. Does this mean that he wouldn't have won either way? Matter of fact, in every fight against Sonic, why doesn't Shadow take off his rings? Is Sonic so strong that even if Shadow took off his inhibitor rings, Sonic could just match his power? I'm not gonna lie, Shadow's inhibitor rings cause a lot of plot holes, and honestly shows you how much he's being downplayed by Sega. Let's not forget, he took out Mephiles' whole army by taking them off in Sonic 06. The only excuse I could see someone use to explain why Shadow doesn't take them off is because of his ego. Like, for example, in the IDW comics during the Metal Virus run, Sonic told Shadow about the virus and said that he should be fast enough to run it off. But then Shadow goes on to say, "Cowards run, I win."
Man, if you don't get your skoogly doodly.
Wow, someone who supposedly rivals Sonic ate those words and ultimately gets fully infected with the Metal Virus. What's even worse is that Sonic was caught in the same situation he was twice and got out of it both times. One of them even had infected Shadow there to make it harder. I don't even get how that even happened to Shadow. It made him look dumb, and yeah. Looking at him in Sonic Generations, it kinda annoys me because he was just sidelined as a cheerleader. And considering how strong he is, I can't believe this was given the okay. Like, after getting beat up by Sonic for a Chaos Emerald, you would think that he would tag along with Sonic to stop Eggman. But no, he sits and waits for modern and classic Sonic to finish the job. I'm sorry, stands there. I know that Tails said that the Sonics are running so fast they're able to restore time and space, but what about Shadow? Shouldn't he be able to do the same? I'm pretty sure he's way faster than classic Sonic, who's just a younger Sonic. Standing there while your whole timeline's being tampered with is not something Shadow's character does, and it doesn't sit right with me. We definitely got robbed seeing Shadow, Blaze, Silver, Knuckles, and Tails go super to save the day, with both Sonics knocked down on the ground. Shadow was just spectating, by the way. Now, I know someone might say, but he doesn't like teaming. But again, his whole timeline and existence was at risk, so him being a cheerleader out of all the things for 2 Sonic was his best winning game plan? I guess you can say he trusted Sonic enough to handle the problem, and that would make sense if Shadow was currently occupied, but no, he was just standing there the whole time. This was not Shadow's character. In his profile it even says it. Shadow is always on the prowl for danger to the world, willing to do anything, fight anyone to ensure nothing threatens the world Maria cherished. I don't get it. What happened to Shadow? Matter of fact, what happened to everyone? When people ask me why I think Sonic Generations isn't the best Sonic game, it's because of the story. It made the characters look like bots. All they did was show up as cameos so they could just stand there and be completely useless. They just give Sonic the Chaos Emeralds and don't even tag along to get the job done faster. Blaze, Sonic, Silver, and Shadow can all keep up with each other, so again, why were they just standing there? Fast forward a couple years later, Sonic Forces comes out, and man, Sega, Who wrote this? Shadow, while Infinite had cloned him and other villains, has everything going to complete and after 6 months of being away with no explanation, conveniently Shadow comes back just in time to save Sonic. He didn't hear about none of this for half a year? On top of that, if Sonic defeated Infinite with this random customizable bot, I'm not gonna lie, it's not hard to believe that Shadow could do the same with anyone that was featured in Sonic Heroes. But then again, it did seem like Shadow was at conflict, once again with his identity as the ultimate life form. When we first play as him in Sonic Forces, when you listen to his dialogue, it does seem like he's at conflict, and he was asking himself, should he embrace the path of justice or embrace a more ruthless and aggressive path? Now that I think about it, Ian Flynn did say he can't explain why Shadow's back on remorsing on his memories, but it probably has something to do with the Phantom Ruby because Shadow does seem to have been corrupted by the Phantom Ruby and its power, and we know based off of Sonic Mania that the Phantom Ruby does make you relive your past memories, but I don't know, that's just my theory. Shadow for the most part is backseated in a lot of the Sonic games he's featured in. He's always doing his own thing and on different missions, which is a great reason why he should get his own new game. I know there are so many iconic moments we're missing out on because it's happening off screen with Shadow. He's been cameoed in so many games and featured, but he's always in the back, useless. It's almost like Sega's making it feel like he doesn't rival Sonic, and I know they don't want us to think that, but it does feel like that. To be honest, I look at Shadow like Gohan from the Dragon Ball series. A character with so much potential, but for some reason is always done dirty because of plot. Recently, Gohan did get his swagger back, but where's Shadow's? The potential Shadow has on multiple occasions has been wasted, and I hope Sega and Ian Flynn does Shadow justice in the next upcoming years. My theory is Shadow will get his own game soon, especially because Sonic 3 movie's coming out and Shadow's gonna be in there. And fans new and old will be demanding more Shadow content, but unless the chaos control on his character progression is undone, who knows when this will happen. Please don't forget to like the video, have a good night or day. I love you guys, peace.